Welcome to the morning show with Dave and Rob on the Southern Fried Podcast. We get you up, we start you right, we rock your mornings all the time. Grab your coffee and your smile, join on in for a while. Hear that rooster sing, coffee's ready for a fling. Southern Fried has news for you. Updates on life's going on, and maybe a joke or two. Get up, pray up, and coffee up. Welcome to the morning show with Dave and Rob on the Southern Fried Podcast. We get you up, we start you right, we rock your mornings all the time. Grab your coffee and your smile, join on in for a while. We got laughs, we got prayer, celebrate our nation every day. Love our vets, love our land. It's the home of the free and the land of the brave. Get up, pray up, coffee up. Welcome to the morning show with Dave and Rob on the Southern Fried Podcast. We get you up, we start you right, we rock your mornings all the time. Grab your coffee and your smile, join on in for a while. So come on in and have a blast, for a good time that will last. Start your day with a smile, with the hosts that do the most. And get up, pray up, coffee up. Welcome to the morning show with Dave and Rob on the Southern Fried Podcast. We get you up, we start you right, we rock your mornings all the time. You grab your coffee and your smile, join on in for a while.
And good morning out there in Southern Fried Podcast land. It's Friday morning. You've made it. I'm Rob. That's Dave. And we're going to start your weekend off right. Those of you that have to work, we're sorry. Good morning, Dave. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the Southern Fried. Early morning. Get your coffee. Get up, pray up, and coffee up. As we broadcast by the banks of the Southern Fried River, flowing gently through the state of Georgia, emptying into parts unknown in the great state of Florida.
You know it flows down through the Florida Panhandle. Whew. That's where all real rednecks come from.
Good people. They get her done.
They do. They do. And you can hear them too going, get her done.
That's right.
Oh. Get us a quick weather check. You got our birthdays this morning? Or birthdays? Get us a
Yeah, I got a few this morning. Well, I had them pulled up. I remembered some of them, but I don't remember all of them. I was looking at news and somehow I got off my birthday. So give me a second. Let's see here. I do remember Khloe Kardashian was one of them.
Who's that?
Helen Keller. Helen Keller's birthday today. Tobey Maguire, actor. And let's see here. One other one I wanted to mention. J.J. Abrams' birthday is today.
Okay.
The director.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick look at some birthdays today.
Well, down here in South Georgia today, as far as weather goes in the Solwega area, They're calling for a high of 90. Some spotty thunderstorms today. Calling for a low of 68. Currently it's 71 degrees and feels like 75 out there. Yeah. Humidity's already kicking in. Let's see, up at Chattanooga this morning, it's actually warmer than it is here. Up there, it is 73 and feels like 81. You're actually hotter than we are and more humid, it looks like. Y'all got the same basic forecast, spotty thunderstorms with a high of 89 and a low of 71. Yeah. Yeah, that don't sound like any fun. Y'all got more heat and humidity than we do. How'd that happen?
I don't know.
Wow. We got bunches of stuff going on this morning. I did have a story or two that catches my eye, and one of them I think is very hilarious. Seems like Democrats have done a $20 million study to figure out what's wrong with men. And they're being mocked for it.
I could have saved them a bunch of money.
Yeah, I don't think it's the men that has the problem. I think that $20 million study had been better to figure out what's wrong with them. But
all men do have a problem. It's called sin. We're sinners. That's easy. All mankind. That's what's wrong. Let's save a lot of money.
Yeah.
Just buy a Bible and hand it to them, and they'll figure it out. Maybe.
Yeah. No. I mean, look at all the stuff that's been happening. I mean, they lost their election, they lost the majority in the Congress and all this stuff. But they want to figure out what's wrong with everybody else. It can't be them. It can't be Dave. Come on. They're great individuals and they truly have our best interest at heart. And they really, really want what's best. They're proud Americans, and they want to support our president, the elected officials and stuff in office. Where the people have spoken, they want to do all that. Can you feel the sarcasm flowing?
Oh yeah, I do. I do.
For those of you who don't feel the sarcasm flowing, it's flowing hard this morning. Wow.
I think they just like spending money. See where that money empties into, whose pocket.
Yeah. Probably China.
That's been an old way of getting a lot of money. It's research. Forever making up new studies. Colleges have made a fortune off of that.
And how dumb do they have to be to do a study, a $20 million study, to figure out what's wrong with men and why men aren't voting for them? Could they have to figure out why don't they agree with us? Why? They should agree with us. Why don't they agree with us? Yeah.
I know. Well, they automatically go from the basis that we got a problem, that we're wrong, And they got to fix it. Or lock us up.
Put us in camp. I think that's come out a time or two. Yeah.
Well, they've talked about. There's been certain people within that have said that, have talked about it.
Yeah.
they've got to, that there's obviously something mental wrong with it. So they definitely had many on the talked about MAGA camps, re-education camps, that if they couldn't be fixed, we would just be locked up for the rest of our lives. But they were leading voices on the Democrat movement talked about that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Because they don't agree with our point of view. So if we don't agree with their point of view, then there's obviously something wrong with us. Obviously, right?
Obviously.
Because we are pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, pro-America. We're anti-corruption. We want to see these places like USAID and stuff like that shut down because it is rife. They're finding blackmail and everything else in that thing. Still. There's going to be charges brought up on it before it's over with, I do believe. Crazy, because we don't support that, then there has to be something wrong with us. We support our president, country. There's got to be something wrong with it. Yeah. My question is this, and we don't have to do a $20 million study on this. It's not going to cost $20 million, Dave. In fact, I dare say we can do it free right here on Southern Fried. What is wrong with them? What is wrong with the Democrat Party? To where the same people will not vote for them. That's not nice. But.
Well, they have a totally different way of viewing things. I mean, and they would call us, when you went pro-American, pro-this, they would say racist, Nazi, white nationalists, purveyors of hate. There's whole different language being used. That we're anti-female, just it goes on and on.
But, they can't say really anti-female. Look how many females or women that Trump has in his cabinet as advisors and in positions of importance, yet you still have people like, I hate to say it again, old Bear on The View talking about Trump only wants to surround himself with weak women and all this kind of stuff. Gives the women that are there no credit whatsoever.
Well, I mean, they don't care for those women. They would say those women are anti-women because they're with him, and they want to call him. They'll say he's they like to throw it out. They like to say he's a convicted rapist and felon. That's the two phrases they like to use for him. I mean, you get a lot, and they know that if you use words have power if repeated often enough. I mean, the old saying, Hitler definitely knew that if you say something often enough, it becomes supposedly truth. And you only have to sway 14% of a population to eventually get everybody. You start working on that part, and they've got more than 14% of this population that believe their way. That's scary.
Yeah.
That's scary.
It really is. And I ain't going to see it any other way but that. And that's another scary thing. I mean, they refuse to look at any other source of information other than the ones that have led them to this place. So, without looking at any other source for information, just the people that agree with them, they get what they want. They feel vindicated.
And what's even sadder is a lot of the same people call themselves Christians and claim membership in churches. It's just crazy. I don't know.
I don't either. It's scary, dude. Yeah, and Broski, you're right. It does seem like that it seems like they hate America. What America stands for. I don't think the only time we've really come out aggressively against anybody and what they're saying on this show is when they come out with hate. We don't put up with hate on here. But if you have a different political point of view, we ain't never kicked you off of here for that. You're welcome. Air it out. We'll discuss it. We'll talk about it. We're more than happy to. But we don't deal with hate.
And that's the real problem, is that they hate. We don't hate, and they do. I don't hate them. I don't hate them because I'm not to hate, but I may not like a lot of things they do, and I may just find them abominable, but I don't hate them.
No.
They have a real hate for conservatives.
And most of the conservatives come under the Christian category, and we believe that all have sinned and come short of the glory of God, and we don't want to judge other people based on their sinfulness or whatever. We've all sinned, and God sees all sin as equal. One's just as bad as the other. None of us are perfect. But it seems like every time we turn around, they're judging us. Well, y'all don't. Well, Trump doesn't surround himself with strong women. Well, y'all don't think that I should be able to go get an abortion if I want one. Y'all don't think, y'all aren't letting us do what we want to do, be it anarchy, be it riots, be it burning down L.A., be it burning down these other major cities during George Floyd and all that. We're not letting them do what they want to do. They want the right to express themselves to the detriment of the country. I can't follow that. And they're judging us based on our unwillingness to go that route. That's just asinine. I don't understand it. It's backwards. You got people just spreading out and out lies. Like, The View maybe at some point in time may have had some value at some point in time, but now you have a group of famous rich women that sit on there and beat their chest and scream, "Poor pitiful me." That is all they do, is they use that as their squawk box to get up there so people will feel sorry for them, basically, and spread lies and propaganda. You have Whoopi even going so far as to say black women or black people in this country have it just as bad as the citizens in Iran. How dumb can you be?
Well, it's an effective, to a point, argument because of the past, that they've made a lot of, they get a lot of mileage off of that, continuing today. And there are those who are willing to cater to that. Call it white guilt or whatever it is. They feel like they can never measure up now, like they have to take a back seat. Instead of us being all equal, we can't be that. We'll never be that. And I just think that the country, the melting pot that we are in America, we're always changing dynamics, and different people groups are sometimes fighting for their voice, which it should be an American voice, but instead it becomes rooted in certain backgrounds or people, and it stops becoming about all Americans. It starts becoming about certain Americans, and that's where the division comes in.
Why do we always have to push to divide? That's the other thing. The more divided we are, the more it seems like the more power they claim. The more divided we are. We're for the people. We're for the people, and they're the very ones that are leading to a lot of the division. Yep, broski, I kind of feel that way too. We talk a lot about news on here, and it's scary what's out there. It is absolutely scary what's going on in the world. Of course, we've been saying that. A lot of folks have been saying that for years. Go ahead, Dave.
I was just going to say, Broski's point, we should point out those things. Yes, I was at a city council meeting years ago when they were arguing over the flag, the Southern flag, and there was a small but vocal group of people came out and just tried to turn it into a hate meeting. And it was sad and comical at the same time on some of the arguments and stuff that people were saying. But I remember there was a lady on there who, without getting into the whole issue, she was for, we got outvoted, but she had been around that town a long time. She had voted for recognition of that month, and they were trying to come to a kind of a compromise between several things. Anyway, somebody got her called her a racist. I will never forget her taking the gavel for about 5 minutes and just schooling people and called them out and said, "You have known me my whole life. You know good and well I'm not a racist. Don't you dare come up here in a public meeting and call me that. That is not true. I absolutely reject it. And you should be ashamed of yourselves." And she backed them off. They actually apologized. And I loved it because they tried to turn her into something for their own political gain. And she stood her ground and said, "No way. I'm not letting you do that. Don't pull me into what you can be against something, but don't try to drag me down to make a point because you know it's not true." She snapped. She said, I will not let you label me like that.
Wow.
And it was a powerful moment.
Yeah.
But too many times in these meetings now we see people, they just sit there. Mm-hmm. They just sit there. They don't say nothing. They put their head down no matter what lunacy is going on in the state house or the school board meeting or whatever it is, all kind of weird, ungodly stuff. And they just sit there, act like they don't see it. I mean, there's some satanic stuff that goes on in some of these meetings. And they just, they're like it's normal operating procedure. No, that shouldn't be going on.
No. And they're scared to say anything.
Well, absolutely, they're scared. And at that point, you become part of the problem.
Yes.
Silence. There is a time to be silent. There is a time. There's a time to speak, time to be silent. But there are times you have to speak up. You have to go against the grain. No matter how it hurts you, no matter what they say about you, you have to make that stand.
Yeah, it's like the young lady you were talking about last night that was bragging on America and then came back and apologized for it. Who was that? What was her name again?
Rebecca Lobo.
Rebecca Lobo. All right. It came back and apologized for it. What a gutless thing to do. What a lack of character.
She undoubtedly was told in her headset, make the apology. And she knew that meant her job was on the line. You know what? I'm not, if I have to do something else to stand out. I mean, at what point do you, what's next that goes in the headset? You can't say you're a Christian. You can't say anything positive about Jesus Christ? I mean, at what point do you just allow yourself to be consumed and taken over and become just a picture on the wall? You have no voice.
Yeah.
If you continue to be quiet, if you don't speak out, then you just join them. Again, I get it at your job. I realize you can't. There's certain things you don't say at work, but like I'm a preacher. I can't just start a preaching, at work. That's their business, and I don't do that. But at the same time, nobody's asking me to deny my Savior or deny my patriotism or whatever. At some point you're crossing into my life. You can't,
right.
And that's where people, that's where we're fighting at in America, is at what intrusion into your life. Do you have to be a spokesperson for a certain company, or you're on TV or radio or whatever, and they say you can't say things. Like Paul Harvey probably wouldn't get a job today.
No, I can't see that. And I
just lost the younger crowd. Who's Paul Harvey?
Yeah.
If there is a younger crowd, which there is. My granddaughter's saying hi to me on the Instagram side, and she's almost 13. So
yeah.
She did hear some of the program, and she wouldn't have a clue who Paul Harvey is.
She's a teenager. She's almost 13. That means she almost is a teenager and almost knows everything.
I'll just put it like this about this point, and we can move on. It's a great honor in battle or wherever to carry the flag. The flag always has to be picked up. Flag bearer goes down, somebody lays their weapon down and picks that flag up. And it's a great honor to carry the flag for America. It's a great honor to carry the Christian flag. And I will always be at the head of the flank, ready to do that. I'm not ashamed of the flag. I'm not ashamed of either flag. I will always stand up and promote American ideas, exceptionalism, and the values that America has. I will always, even more so, promote my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I will always be ready to stand and march through hell itself if I have to do that. I am not changing. But nowadays, people are laying down their colors, they're laying down the flag, they're cowering and hiding. Our country was founded on people that stood against a king, stood against even when they tried to come and force us down to the crown. They stood against that. Most of the people that are the early framers of our Constitution and Bill of Rights and Declaration of Independence and a lot of those people either lost their life. Most of them went broke. They lost all their fortunes. They died penniless because they believed in a cause. They didn't do like today and enrich themselves and stay rich and forsake their values. Instead, they gave way to defend those values. That's the difference I see today. And that's why President Trump resonates with the people, because he has not made money. He's lost money. They have come after him for billions of dollars.
Yeah.
They've tried to destroy him financially. That's what they do. He just keeps going.
Yeah. And since when he's going into government? And I know it's been going on for a while, but how did we get to a point where we're going in and serving the people of the country makes you a millionaire? Over and over and over. How many? I would like to know the count of how many millionaires there are in Congress. that weren't millionaires before they got there. You know, I would like to know that number. I mean, well, I think there have been several politicians that said if you're a millionaire, you're working for the government, then you're not straight. You know, you're
Probably go into state government and find people that became millionaires in state level who weren't millionaires before.
Yeah, yeah. How? I mean, you know it's crooked. You know the system's rigged. Why do we as a nation put up with that? Because we have people in our country that promote that want big government, that want loopholes and people accepting bribes and everything else. They want that because that gives them more money and power. It seems like.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely. There was a story I saw this morning. Where is it at? I got to find that again. It may have already clicked over. There it is. Federal officer. Federal. Come on. Where's that? I just clicked it. Where did it go? There it is. He's busted in an immigration scheme that went on for nearly a decade. All right. He's taking bribes to help immigrants obtain status. And he didn't even have the authorization to do that. Couldn't even do it. But he kept telling these people, it was happened in Brookhaven, Pennsylvania. And this story came off Fox. Charged with bribery of public official. Solicitation of bribes in exchange for official acts. You know, he did not have the authority to fulfill any of his promises to the individuals, plural, according to court documents. You know, you got this kind of stuff going on in government, okay? In government. That's on the federal level, and I hope they slam the book on this guy. What kind of person does it take to do this to somebody? All right? And they're there everywhere. But, I mean, come on.
Shout out to Miss Gloria Wheeler on one of the Facebooks who said, I love Paul Harvey. Loves Paul Harvey. And who didn't listen for the rest of the story?
And now you know.
Yeah.
Come on, Dave, do it with me. And now you know the rest of the story.
Well, every time he came on, it had a positive ending, even as struggle or things that happened. But I just like to. That's why I like to study people and biographies, because most in our history of our country, most not every, but most people that rose to greatness went through a lot of struggle, a lot of rejection, a lot of loss, and overcame all that to become great. I think that, and I know we do it with the president, we didn't do it then, but I think you have to go back to George Washington, because George Washington could have stayed president as long as he wanted, but instead he realized it was better for him to allow someone else to run and become president, and he'd step aside. Mm-hmm. We've got a lot of senators that need to be off the stage. A lot. They have been up there way too long. They don't. Most of the time, that just doesn't work. I mean, we got people that have been serving for 50 years or 60 years. It's time to move on. It's time to let someone else lead.
That's why we need term limits. We've got to have them. The corruption is never going to stop without some type of term limit. And I think that the fact that there are no term limits for senators right now or whatever, people serving in Congress, the fact that there are no term limits gives them an open door thing. I'm here now. I'm an incumbent. I'm hard to beat. I can just do what I want to. Come on, quit it. And quit voting yourselves raises. Very few of you actually show up half the time to do what you're supposed to do. And then if you do, you won't make a decision. You'll just show up present to be your vote. You can't even make a decision. You're supposed to be leading. You're supposed to be voting for your constituents. All you can do is say, I'm here. And take that weak ass snot and get out of here.
This Gloria says, I believe most will be gone soon. Amen.
I hope so.
But we're at a critical stage in our nation for a lot of things. But one of them is, and it's really testing, and there's a lot of talk back and forth. And it's, you go into, Minnesota, these very extreme, the four, and their anti-Americanism. We take this guy in New York, the guy running for mayor.
Yeah.
And it's stretching us out in ways that are dangerous. I mean, some of the things they're saying. And again, it's always a fine line for me, because it sounds good to to limit something, but at the same time, the yin and the yang. But if you limit for them, then that same rule could be applied to conservatives or whatever. The problem is the people were voting this in. This guy couldn't be in the position he is without the people putting him there. Now, right. And I don't know how you rein that in, because once you start saying you got to be this, or you got to be this, you got to be that, you could very quickly lose freedom. And people have the right to choose. And I'm very leery of, there are people calling for this guy to be kicked off the ticket and whatever. And it sounds good on one side, but the other side concerns me, because what about the next time somebody don't like someone? And it's tough for me. That's a real, when we get down to it, you have to be really careful with making anything that would, freedom is freedom. It's tough. But the people put this guy there. The anger's directed at him, and sure, I get it. But the people put him there. It says something about our nation. And what it says to me is that citizenship nowadays, for not all, but for a lot, citizenship has changed. Used to be the Statue of Liberty, all that. Citizenship was always about becoming an American. That is not what a lot of people are coming to our country for anymore. It's not to become an American. It's to gain traction into all the things they can get as an American. But they're not flag-waving Americans. They're not patriotic. They're not loving this country. They're using it to get what they want, and they don't have a love for country. They don't want sacrifice. In fact, they want to tear down the strongholds that we are as a nation, and that's a big change over the people that came through Ellis Island and came to America and said, we're now Americans from all different backgrounds. It doesn't matter where they come from. They came to America. They said, we will hold on to those things at home. We will teach our kids where we came from so they'll know, but we're Americans. We are Americans. We're not going to promote our front of our house. We're Americans. We're going to fly the American flag. We're going to speak the language. Yes. We're going to learn what it is to be an American. We're honored to be here. It's the greatest blessing in the world now to become an American. That's not totally gone, but it is by and large happening a lot. We have people in our country, and they just look at the country for what they can take. Mm-hmm. Not what they could do for America, but what they can take. That's a big problem.
And it's going to be ongoing. I don't see that ever saying, because now people as a whole have become about me. I and me. That's what they care about. They don't care about their country. They want what's best for I and me. And it's where we're going, and I don't see that changing. It would be great if it would. Don't get me wrong. I hope that is the case, Miss Gloria. I really do. Hey, I got some sad news this morning. I just saw it. Rick Hurst. Do you know who that is? Anybody out there? Probably don't. Not a real big name in acting. He played Cletus Hogg on the Dukes of Hazzard.
I saw that yesterday.
Yeah, he passed away. I didn't know that. He was 79 years old. You you look at these people, Dave. I mean, when we were kids, we used to watch these people on the TV. Oh, Luke, Duke, Cletus, Enos, Roscoe, Boss Hogg. We loved them. And we watched them every week. And now these guys are getting old. And I'm like, what happened? Are we getting old too?
We're getting into the age where a lot of people that we grew up with are dying, which is not fun for us to see.
Yeah.
Musicians, actors.
We're losing a lot of them. A lot of these musicians, it's just horrible that we're losing. I mean, some of these guys are just, some of them we haven't lost yet, but just can't perform anymore or can't really hold that level, like Phil Collins and stuff. I mean, man.
Death wins every time.
Oh, yeah. It's going to get crazy.
True. Well, animals have more rights than humans now.
Yeah.
And I don't dislike animals, but it's true. If you were to do to an animal what they would do to human life, you would go to jail for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's really amazing to watch that mentality. Called loving the creature more than the creator.
Mm-mm. But they want to give AI and robots human rights. I mean, come on. It's a tool. It is a tool. It is a computer program. They say artificial intelligence, it's running really, really fast, but come on. Is it really alive? Is it? It's a tool.
It's not alive, but it does have the ability to learn and correct and never make the same mistake. And there's that fear that, we know biblically that it's going to cause mass damage. There's no doubt, but we know who wins. So, but it definitely be used to suppress human rights. Look at all that's happening. How long before humans don't have the right to drive anymore?
Yeah.
They're going to say, you can't jump in your car, drive down. You have a car, but it's going to drive you. And the control that they would have on that, how fast you go, what hours you can travel. A lot of your highways are federally controlled highways. Think about that.
Yeah.
And where they say, well, for the sake of the environment, we're going to limit how many hours a day you can be on the highway. Only certain people could go. You have to apply for the right to go from here to California, whatever. That's the way these idiots think, And
it all boils down in a nutshell to control. They want to limit and control our ability to move. They want to keep us stuck at home. nation of citizens to get out and travel where they want to go within that country. That's dangerous for people that seek power.
Well, we get into the 15-minute cities. They want you to stay within a region. More and more cities, they're doing it across Europe. More and more cities are going to charge big fees to come into the city every time you come in. Like for us, Atlanta. I'm not saying we want to go a bunch, but you got to go to Atlanta to conduct business. I think in London it's £25 or whatever it is. Maybe it works out to $25, and you have to pay a fee to come in, and that's because of overcrowding and the roads overcrowded. Whatever. It's just a money grab, though, is what it is.
Yeah.
Unless you take, I don't know if you can take mass transit. Maybe the fee is not as much, but that's what they're doing. They're saying due to overcrowding, we're going to charge if you're not here or making a delivery here. We're charging you this fee every time you come into the city. They're trying to do that in New York.
Yeah.
Crossing the bridges that come into New York.
Wow. That's the same thing. And it's the same thing. It's just another way of control. Stay close to your home. Don't come here. Unless you just we're going to grab every nickel we can when you cross that bridge. Great.
That's it. And it'll be tied in with things like your insurance or whatever. They'll all work together to limit Americans. That's coming. Sadly, I do think that's coming.
It is.
That's right, Miss Gloria.
Yes.
She's on it this morning.
That's right. They can't take our authority unless you give it to them.
I mean, I would have had so much respect for Rebecca Lobo if she had came on and said this. And said, listen, folks, this may cost me my job, but I'm going to say something. I said something about America being great, and I believe that in my heart. I'm being told that I have to apologize, and I'm not going to do that. She didn't have to say who. She could just say, I'm being told that I have to apologize. And if that means I don't have a job either now or after this program or after this game, I'm going to say I'm not apologizing. In fact, I'm going to double down, and I'm going to say America is great because I have freedom, and I love this nation. Yep. And let the chips fall where they may.
Absolutely.
Call them out on it.
Oh.
The seedy backroom globalists who are trying to control. Now we're being told that there's a ex-CBS reporter. If you need to go look at her, what she was told they were saying during the time of, we can't say the word or we'll get struck on at least one channel. But we know what happened a few years ago during not only that, but the riots that were occurring right before that they were told who they could talk to, what color of person they could talk to. At what point do you stop being a reporter? When you're told who you can talk to, what you can and can't say, and that's it.
Well, most of those people aren't reporters anyway. They're propagandists.
But this was a true reporter who was trying to, and that's she's saying this is what we were told. But again, she didn't stand up and say, I'm going to,
Yeah.
That's why what we're doing is so important. And we may be small potatoes. We do have an audience. It's growing every day. But there are hundreds of thousands of people like us who are going on the airwaves, and we're calling it out. We're saying this is wrong, and they hate that. That's why they want to control it. That's why they try to control certain platforms, and that's why it's important to support those platforms that don't suppress free speech, and in fact defend it. And they're taking a lot of heat for it.
And let's go ahead and throw a name or two out there that does support free speech. And one of the biggest ones right now is Rumble.
It is Rumble. Rumble and Gap, and a new one we're on is Wimkin, Protect Free Speech, and I appreciate that stance. We're battling for the soul of our nation, and everything is under attack. We might not see it, but it's there.
Yeah, Steve. The regurgitators, what I call those guys, they're not reporters anymore. They really aren't. They are propagandists. They are told what to say, when to say, who to say it with, who to say it to. They are propagandists. They are not reporters. Broski.
Come on, broski. It's
Those
because it was just a news article. I didn't even mention that the organization. I have my problems there for sure, but it's the fact that she has a voice. And how many young girls are listening to that? That is scary to me, that propaganda or that beatdown and apology is being said, because there are people listening to that. So that's why it's important.
Yeah, Broski, if you're going to make this about women's sports again, you keep in mind, they probably ain't one of them women folk that can't whip your butt. Yes, Celtic, you're right. Woohoo, rumble.
Broski likes to walk on the dark side, meaning close to death for the things
Yes.
he says.
Name one that couldn't whip your butt. Don't you say all of them, because I guarantee you they saw more than women in the WNBA whoop you. In fact, there's probably some women folk that's on here, this show here regularly that could whoop you.
For those that don't know, Rob wants you to send pictures of your feet to him in the email. This happened in last night's show. Rob said, send a picture of your feet.
We're going to try to pick out who you are by looking at your foot. Okay? This is mainly for a regular.
We're going to put them on the screen. I hate feet. I think they're nasty, but we're going to put feet on the screen and see if people can figure out whose feet they are.
And Broski, regulation size basketball. That's the first step. Let me go ahead and say this. They can use whatever size ball they want to. You don't make the rules for them. They make the rules for you. You might wear the pants. You might crow. I've heard this my whole life. The rooster may crow, but the hen delivers the goods. And you better remember that, son. And that's straight out of the South right there, Bubba. But I'm quite sure those two women that come on this show pretty regular, they can wear you out. Either one of them get on you so hard you'd be screaming, "Get them off me! Get them off me!"
Or what? One of them can send you to hell.
Oh yeah, don't get her started. Oh.
Oh my goodness.
That's what you get for coming on here talking about the SEC, Bubba.
Broski can make all these great comments, and he does. And then he has to show that part of him that is like, come on, man.
No, he gets emboldened, and he starts. He thinks, "Yeah, I'm gonna get away with this." And let's see, wear me out at what? I'm not a beta. I can handle them. I'm not afraid. Let me go ahead and put this out there. The fact that you had to say that you're not a beta and that you can handle them and that you're not afraid shows that you are.
Ooh.
Wear me out at what? Whatever they want to. I think the way that you're going to wind up in a pit someday looking up at women, one or two, probably on this show, looking down at you. They're going to be telling you, it puts the lotion on its skin.
That's disgusting.
Okay, I don't fear women, and worship the woman is better. I don't worship the woman. Uh, I do believe that husbands and boyfriends and stuff like that, and wives are of each other, and I believe there should be a good and healthy amount of banter in between them. Uh, there should be a lot of joking and carrying on. Uh, Broski said, "I welcome all challengers. I am the broski with the moski."
That sounds like a guy from Philly.
Yeah, yeah, he doesn't fear ribs. Oh man, broski, that's awesome. Uh,
I'll give him this. He is the crowing rooster, whether he gets flogged or not from other hens. He definitely crows.
yes. What you don't see is at home, he's probably sitting on the eggs.
I don't know what he does for a living, but I wonder how much he talks about like that when he's out doing his business.
It depends on how many women he works with. If he's mostly guys and just one or two women and he can say it where they can't hear it, he probably says a lot.
It's easy to South to be a keyboard warrior. It's not as easy to do it out in public.
Yeah. Yeah, because then you got to look, see, they know what you look like. And some of them may actually know where you live. If not, they can follow you. Yeah. It's me and Dave get out in public, too. We put our faces up here. They know about where we live, probably. And when we go, we announce where we're going. I mean, we're going to the Sawega Ag Fest on July the 19th. We're going to be there live. And let's put that up real quick. We're going to be there live for everybody to see. Come on out and see us. Come on out and see us. We ain't scared. Yeah, bro. Well, good evening. I wanted to do. That's what I wanted. Yes. Swig Ag Fest, we got a schedule of events starting on July the 12th with the parade. From the ground up is the thing there with that. Swig Ag Fest art show and dinner that night at 7:30. On Sunday the 13th, we got the Sawega Ag Fest Bake Off at 3:30. Let me tell you, I'm going and I will be getting token. Dave, I don't think you'll be down here in time for that one, will you?
No.
And we have Thursday the 17th, the Mitchell Baker Farmer Appreciation Dinner at 7 p.m. Now this one, next one you will be down for. Saturday, July the 19th, the Sawega Ag Fest Barbecue Chicken Cook-Off and the Sawega Ag Fest Festival. The barbecue chicken cook-off starts at 8 a.m. The festival starts at 10 a.m. and runs till 4 p.m. A lot of this is indoors in the air conditioning, which is essential piece of information for you guys here in South Georgia. Not all of it, but some of it. Saturday, July the 26th, we're going to have the Sawega Ag Fest Beauty Contest. We got Baby and Junior Miss pageants starting at 2 p.m. and the Teen and Miss pageant starting at 6. So, hey, that's in Camilla, Georgia. You know, there's a lot of good stuff going on there over that 2-week period. Y'all need to come on out and support them. And support our businesses and stuff that jump in there too. And Broski, come on out. You can come on down here and hang out with the real men. You get more respect from women when they recognize you act like a man. They say they want some wishy-washy beta, but none do. They don't respect it no matter what they say. I don't know. If women are better than me at basketball, they would at least have to prove it with a regulation size men's basketball where it's not the same playing field. Wait a minute. You just said that you were better than women at basketball. Now you're talking about a level playing field? You're worried about a level playing field? Oh, you don't want them to have any advantage? Oh, okay, I see. Well, what if you used a women's basketball? See? Uh, you said jump, Becky. I'm impressed with your 3-inch vertical. Let me tell you something. I only have about a 2-inch vertical. Get off of Becky's 3-inch. Okay? I have an amazing 2-inch vertical leap. And that is a leap, dude. So, yeah. Don't you worry about Becky's leap. Very worried about mine. I love you, brother. Now, look. We might could set up a Dunkin' booth down here at this thing, and that would be awesome for you to sit up there and holler some of this stuff out.
He's bringing it, I'll tell you.
Yeah, he is. It's funny. It's common sense, Rob. Yes, they shouldn't have any predetermined advantage. I'll use a women's basketball and smash them even more. They couldn't use a men's basketball, so what's that say? Love you guys. Well, you know what? I don't think you could smash them even more. I mean, it takes some delicacy and some finesse to be able to use that women's basketball. And right now, you're showing you're pretty much like a sledgehammer. So, love you, brother. Well, we have made it till 7 o'clock. Guys, we appreciate y'all being in here with us this morning, everybody. Sorry. That was a big yawn. Had a busy few days. I'm going to make some encouragement for y'all this morning. If you don't have a Rumble channel, why do you not? You need to get on Rumble. All I'm saying is I played against Kobe, Rip Hamilton, and John Salmons back in the day. Was it a long time ago? Yes. Did they want Vladimir to come out? No. I think you better be careful. Because while they may be out there dribbling a basketball, most of them will still have a hand free to carry a cast iron skillet. I think you're fixing them. Oh, could you imagine that? If women's basketball had not only a basketball, but a cast iron skillet involved. It's at the end of the period, one of them gets a shot. So they get the thong. So they know it's the end of the period. I'm just saying. Yeah. All right.
I'm going to tell you down here in the South before we go. They might not be able to beat you straight up in basketball, but they know where you sleep.
That might be even worse, actually.
There's been a few men who's been sewed up in the sheet, and a broom took after them.
Broski. At the end of the game, they get to cook me a steak and bake me a cake. Oh, you just begging for it.
I noticed the Celtic blacksmith's being very quiet right now. I think he decided not to jump in that conversation.
He's probably
Love you, Steve-O. Love you, Broski Bear. Thanks, everybody. Miss Gloria for coming in the show this morning. All those that are doing it. Thank you.
Thank y'all so much. Hey, y'all get out there and have a great day. It's Friday. Get this weekend thing started. You have a great day, great Friday too, broski. Hey, love you guys. God bless you. Big old salute. And we will see y'all tonight for some front porch talking. So, have a good one, guys.
Sports at 6.
Yeah.
come on in and have a blast, for a good time that will last. Start your day with a smile, with the hosts that do the most. Get up, pray up, coffee up,